what is a tip prompt on your terminal. So maybe you got a terminal there and you're like, what's a tip prompt? We're going to talk about that in today's video.
TransactionExpert.com is the leader in transaction services. We build your online presence and point of sale system to integrate with each other. If you are ready to understand and control the entire customer experience, visit TransactionExpert.com.
So maybe you just got a new credit card machine from a new processing company and you're wondering, what is a tip prompt? What does that mean? Well, basically on a credit card terminal, many of them have the ability to accept tips. And so, for instance, let's say you're in a restaurant setting, you go out to the table, you swipe the, you get the payment information, come back, swipe the card, you go back, and then when they sign the receipt, they add on top of it a tip. And so they put, a tip of maybe $5 on there, and then they leave with their card. So how do you get that $5? Well, what you have to do is you have to go in and adjust the amount so you can add a tip to it. Now, the important thing here, though, what I want to talk about today is that many small business owners don't really understand the different options that you have, okay? So a couple options that you have. First of all, you can have a tip prompt. A tip prompt is where it will prompt you to enter a tip when you put in the sale. So if you're like a cafe or a pizza shop or something like that, many times you want to have a tip prompt because they're going to actually give you the tip, right there. So that's where you would want to say, for instance, would you like to add a tip to this? So if your servers or if people are saying, at the cash register, would you like to add a tip? You want to have a tip prompt on the terminal, so you can just enter it right there with the other transaction. It just makes it a lot easier. But you still want to enter it as a tip, so that at the end of the night, when you print the settlement report out, it will split up the tip prompts in there. Okay? So you want to have a tip prompt in there for sure if you're asking them about that. Then the other way to do it is to not have a tip prompt, and this would be especially if it's more of a fine dining establishment, something where there's never a situation where you would ask for a tip. You just give them the receipt and they know to put a tip on the receipt. Then in that case, there should be a little button on your terminal called Tip Adjust, or it should say Tip or Tip Adjust or Tip ADJ. Click on that, and then you're going to have to enter either like the invoice number, or you can say, is it the last transaction, whatever it is. Find that receipt, and then you adjust it to add the tip amount. Okay? So that's what a tip prompt is. A tip prompt basically just prompts you for a tip. Now, let me go through one other thing. One other thing that's really important. Some terminals have a setting in them where you get an error because it says you don't have tips added. In that case, there's a setting in your terminal where every transaction needs to have a tip amount, even if that tip amount is 0. Some places do that because they don't want to miss any tips. And so it's like an alert, like saying, oh, we didn't key in all of our tips yet. Which is okay if most people give you a tip, but of course it's kind of frustrating because even if somebody doesn't give you a tip, you have to go in and do tip adjust, add tip, 0, and then enter. Okay? Now, in the next video, we're going to talk about server IDs, which are equally as important if you're going to be doing tips so you can track them effectively, and that's going to be in the next video.